Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm the casual caregiver and I have been taking care of my dad for about 5 or 6 years now. This video, I'm going to talk to you about your representative payee report, which if your loved one is receiving SSI, that is a report you have to complete because the Social Security Administration says so. It comes in the mail. Let me get this envelope here from the Social Security Administration. Envelope typically looks like that. They are responsible, or they're overseeing making sure that you're spending the money the way you're supposed to, essentially, in a sense. Now, I don't know how deeply they actually look into this, but it comes with instructions. If you've never done this before and it arrives in the mail, make sure you, first of all, never throw anything from the Social Security Administration away, and make sure you read everything. This I've done numerous times over the past few years, so I kind of do it in my sleep. Let me see if I can show you a little bit of what's on here. Make sure it doesn't have any info. This is what it looks like. They ask you this series of questions. I'm sure you can't read it necessarily, but I want you to see what it looks like. That's the front. And then on the back, they ask a few other questions. So let me just tell you what they're asking you about. So first of all, let me back up a little bit. You might be wondering, what's a representative payee? If you've never heard of it before, that just means, in a sense, that you're the person who is dictating where your loved one's money goes. And here's how they explain it for why you received the form. In their own terms, they say, we must regularly review how representative payees use the benefits they received on behalf of the Social Security and or supplemental security income beneficiaries. That would be your loved one who you're taking care of. We do this to ensure the benefits are used properly. When you were appointed representative payee, you were informed of the duties and responsibilities of a representative payee, including keeping records and reporting on the use of benefits. That is 100% accurate. When you become a representative payee, you have to sign some stuff that says you're responsible, and you'll be able to answer questions on how this money is used, right? Because we know the government doesn't sleep on how their money is used until you need it to get like potholes fixed or something. Okay, so the first question they will ask is, were you, the payee, convicted of a crime considered to be a felony between, and then they'll give you the year period. This particular one says between July 1st of 2023 to June 30th of 2024. If the answer is yes, you have to actually explain on the back. Now me, I have not been convicted of any crimes, not this year, and I have no felonies, so there are no issues for me there. So I would just check off no. That's the very first question. The second question is, did the beneficiary continue to live alone or with the same person or in the same institution between that date period? If no, explain on the back. So they want to know if the living arrangement of the beneficiary, aka your loved one, has changed. My father, his has not changed. He continues to live with me. The way that is handled is he has a lease. I'm the leaseholder. And there's a reason why it's done that way, because he is his own person. He comes with his own bills. I cannot and do not claim him on my taxes. The IRS says I can't. That's why. When you have over a certain amount in income, then they say you can't claim an elderly parent, right? Because they're still an adult, even though they need help, and he's essentially a baby at this point mentally. I cannot claim him on my taxes. I will try to include the link from the IRS that tells you who can be claimed and who can't in the description bar. So definitely check that out so that you don't find yourself in financial trouble, because people have always been like, well, why aren't you claiming them? Why aren't you claiming? I can't claim him. Okay. So since I can't claim him, he is a standalone adult. He needs somewhere to live. He lives with me. He has his own room, his own bathroom. He has a lease. And that is how it's handled. If you need to learn more about that, I strongly suggest you speak with a CPA, not just any old accountant, but a CPA, because they can guide you, and just get familiar with the IRS rules and badger the people at the Medicaid office, to be honest, because that one thing makes such a big difference, because he is still looked at like his own person. He has bills to pay. He pays towards certain utilities, or he has certain utilities in his name. He used to have a cell phone back when he could use one. All of those things I kept very separate for us, very, very separate. And like I said, he has a lease. It's beneficial to do it that way. If you have never looked at my caregiver money tips video, I will put the link for that in the description as well, because there are a lot of quick, easy things that if you're not doing, I want you to start doing ASAP to make things a little bit easier on yourself when it comes to the financial portion. Okay? So on the next question, they tell you how much the person made during that time period. They tell you how much you said that you saved for this person based on the previous report. And then they ask you 4 sub-questions underneath question 3. So that first sub-question is, did you, the payee, decide how that total amount was spent? It's supposed to be yes, but if no, then you have to explain it on the back of the form. How much did you spend towards food and housing between that date period? And you have to put in the dollar amount. How much did you spend on other things such as clothing, education, medical and dental expenses, recreation, or personal items between that date period? And then how much, if any, of that dollar amount did you save for the beneficiary? You have to fill those things out. Be as exact as you can. In a lot of cases, you're going to be using that entire amount because it's SSI. It's not like it's a livable wage, right? So you're probably going to be using that entire amount on the question that relates to clothing, education, medical and dental expenses, recreation, and personal items, right? Because if you think about it, diapers. I can tell you a pack of the diapers that we use for my dad. They're the Prevail Air. There is a link for them in the description. They're my favorite thus far. There used to be another type that Medline made that was surprisingly magical. But it appears they don't make them anymore. So I've been using Prevail Air with him for some years, and I really, really like them. You can find them on Amazon. You can find them on Medline. You can find them lots of places, but I'll put the link directly for it on Amazon below. But like I was saying, most of you are probably going to just put that total amount and what was spent on those types of expenses because it adds up. And you should, like, for instance, one thing I used to be bad at is when I'd order things on Amazon for him versus me, I'd put it all in one basket and order it. I actually suggest that you get your loved one their own Amazon account so that the record keeping is really easy. I ran into some issues when I was renewing one year, and, you know, with his food stamps and how that's handled, they're like, well, how much are you spending every month on XYZ? And it was so difficult for me to go through and figure out how much I was spending on different things to substantiate the reason why he needed SNAP benefits, aka food stamps. So you want to set them up with their own Amazon account. Me, I haven't set it up separately, but I do try to place 2 separate orders each time. So instead of just, you know, because I have Prime and I'm not about to pay for Prime twice. So instead of me having a completely separate account, I will just create 2 baskets or 2 separate orders before I submit if I'm ordering things for him. And then as far as savings is concerned, you're likely not able to save much for them because you're using it on the same things that I just mentioned, right? And that doesn't even, you're not even thinking about things like paying for a sitter, paying for this, paying for that. If you don't have someone who's covered by Medicaid or you need coverage outside of the time period that you're approved for with Medicaid or Medicare, you got to pay that out of pocket. And a decent sitter, well, I have really good ones that I've known for some years now. You can find one maybe for $15 depending on the level of care that your loved one needs. But more than likely, it's going to be closer to the $20 mark. I've encountered some that were $25, especially depending on what area you live in. If you live in a more affluent area, you may have people who have prices that are a bit higher. I've seen that. Other people I've spoken with, they have confirmed that. I can get someone for much less because my area is very much regular. So no one's out here trying to price gouge on a regular basis. Okay? And it's pretty straightforward. It does also ask if you have saved or, whatever it may be with that money. You have to check off the type of account that you're doing this with. So you see it's asking like what type of account. You probably can't read that. So whether it's savings checking, U.S. savings bonds, certificates of deposit, collective savings, treasury bills, or something else. And then they want the title of the account. So if it's the beneficiary's name by your account, again, your loved one, or your name, or basically how it's being handled. And then the back, is there anything on the back of here? Like I said, you have to put remarks. If anything has changed, this is what it looks like. So any remarks, they give you ample space for that, and then, signature and all of that. So once you complete this, you can put it in the prepaid envelope and send it back. Here's the thing. I think it's absolutely absurd that they give you an envelope to send this to them via the mail, because it has your name, your loved one's name, and your loved one's social security number completely spelled out. So I do not do this via mail because mail theft and identity theft and fraud are very real. And I live in Atlanta, and I think we're number one for like fraud and identity theft. We beat out Miami a while back, if I recall correctly. So it actually comes with instructions for you to do this online. Anything that you can do online, I strongly suggest you do online. Do not put your personal information or your loved one's personal information in the mail. Very rarely will there be something that you must submit through the mail. Okay? But what I can tell you is when I log in online to the, can't remember if it's the Social Security Administration. I don't know why I can't say the word social today. But with the Social Security Administration, when I log into my portal to look at what my future benefits will look like, I get to toggle between two accounts. My dad's account, my account. So I can just log into my account. And when I say my dad's account, it's a representative payee account. When I toggle to that, I can submit this online and it's done. I take no more than 5 minutes because most cases you got a rough estimate of how you spend the money anyway. But like I said, most of us are spending that full amount on all those types of expenses, living, supplies, that sort of thing. There are no savings. What savings? Anywho, so that being said, if you choose to become your loved one's representative payee, which I strongly suggest that you do so that you can have a better handle on the money that comes in. I'm also a power of attorney for my dad. So anything that happens, it comes to me, right? My mom, of course, she helps if I need help with something. She's very much involved, in case you were wondering. But he's with me because my mom is also an aging adult, right? They're in their 70s. So he's here with me when he was walking and everything. Their house has stairs, 2 sets of stairs. We didn't need him tumbling. I bought a home that is ranch style, no stairs, and has a ramp that I got put in, concrete ramp for the front door. So it came in very handy. I tried to think of what would make the most sense and be easiest. For those of you who are specifically in Georgia, because that's the only state I am familiar with. If you are specifically in the state of Georgia, I have navigated a lot of things and I would like to share that information with you. I recently started a nonprofit, surprise, and part of what that nonprofit does is I help caregivers sort of navigate this space, right? Caregivers in Georgia, let me reiterate that, okay? I can only point you in certain directions if you're out of state. But when it comes to the extent of the information I know to be true, like I can point you into the direction of agencies that I know of where you can go to be connected with these agencies to be paid as a caregiver, stuff like that. I only know about the state of Georgia. Sorry, everybody else who's somewhere else. But there is a link to a guide. A gentleman I met on Instagram who put together a guide for each state. I think he sells it for maybe $3. Listen, when you create something, it helps keep things running. These websites, these cameras, all this kind of stuff costs money. So if you want the guide for that shows all 50 states and how to navigate being paid as a caregiver, I'll put the link for that below as well so that you can go check that out yourself. But I connected with him providing some information on his Instagram and just kind of went from there. And I know the guide exists. It's not my guide, but he put it together. I'm just sharing it with you, right? I'm just here to share resources. But like I was saying with that nonprofit, if you are interested in getting some information directly from me related to the state of Georgia, I will put the link to my nonprofit below and I will connect with you that way. There's a short form to complete, kind of give me a background of your situation and what you're looking to get, and then I'll get back to you via email. My nonprofit is called Project Pitch Inc., and that's sort of what I'm doing in that aspect, okay? The other thing I do with my nonprofit is I help support the community by doing things like free resume feedback sessions, because I am an HR professional full-time on top of being a caregiver to my dad, right? So I'm all over the place. I do lots of things, and I just really want to help you all. So if you are interested in that information, the link to my 501c3 nonprofit is below. We are approved. We are up and running. It's been a very short amount of time, but that information is there for your benefit as well. Okay? I'm going to try to do some more videos maybe this weekend. Been a little behind if you haven't been able to tell. And I may have some live webinars or meetup sessions here, whether it's on Zoom or here on YouTube, coming up soon, hopefully. All right? So leave comments, ask questions, and I hope this was helpful. I will see you all in the next video. Bye.